Meanwhile, at our focus, Thailand and Cambodia have been exchanging heavy artillery and missile fire over the last couple of days across the border in Southeast Asia. This fresh outbreak of aggression marks the latest active escalation of hostilities between two sovereign states. And according to reports, over 1.3 lakh people have been displaced so far as a direct consequence of this escalation. In its latest attacks on Cambodia, Thailand has launched airstrikes, leaving at least 15 people dead. UN Secretary General has urged both sides to exercise minimum restraint and address any issues through dialogue. The clash between Thai and Cambodian soldiers has entered its second day along the border between the two countries, killing mostly civilians. Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet has said that he backed a proposal by Malaysian counterpart and ASEAN chair for a ceasefire, but Thailand withdrew its initial support for the plan. Hundreds of Cambodians have reportedly taken shelter on the grounds of a Buddhist tower, trying to flee the border areas. The long-running dispute escalated on Thursday, viewers, with Thailand launching airstrikes on Cambodian military targets and accusing Cambodia of firing rockets and other arsenal. I take this conversation forward with more developments. I have with me on the broadcast Mr. David Whitehouse, journalist, Ninad Seth, foreign affairs expert, Mejan Gigi Dwivedi with us as well, and I have with me Mr. Bhaswati Mukherjee and Professor Prof Nalapats, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian. Let me begin this conversation with Ambassador Mukherjee. Ambassador Mukherjee, several talks, ma'am, as well as expectations of mediation are currently being declined. In your assessment, when exactly can we expect the current escalation to settle down?
Well, you know, Devika, the Cambodians and the Thais have a difficult relationship. One of them is the dispute over what is called the Priya Vihar temple, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and which has two entrances, one from the Thai side, one from the Cambodian side, and which the Thais claim as their own territory. They have a disputed boundary. But in this particular case, the Thais have escalated the conflict by using fighter jets, etc. This is the first time that I am aware of, and I used to follow this Thai-Cambodian dispute when I was ambassador to UNESCO. When the Priya Vihar dispute started, the international community and neighboring countries were always able to persuade both sides to back off after a couple of days of hostilities, which were never escalated to the level of using air force, because naturally Thailand has a much superior air force, for that matter, much superior defense forces to the Cambodians. But the neighborhood usually has always supported Cambodia as a smaller country, which has gone through very difficult times, civil war, etc. And even for the dispute on Priya Vihar, the international sympathies have always been with Cambodia rather than with Thailand. This time we have to watch and wait and see how the hostilities can be brought down. Usually in the past, the Indians used to be roped in as well as the Chinese. This was interesting. This was some years ago. Both countries, both China and India, were able to play a very useful role in calming down the sensitivities on both sides. Now, I suppose what would be required would be some mediation on behalf by ASEAN, by the ASEAN countries. Both belong to ASEAN, etc. And also to make the Thais understand that this kind of aggressive behavior towards a much smaller neighbor is meaningless. They have to live in peace with each other. And although they've had a difficult relationship over the last 10 years on this border dispute, it's never escalated to such levels. So it's distressing to find that it's gone to this level. Maybe what it needs is for President Trump, Devika, to say that he has arranged a ceasefire between the two and take credit for it. And then maybe both parties can write to the Nobel Committee and nominate Trump for a further ceasefire which he has arranged, for which he should get the Nobel Peace Prize. I say that in jest, But we've seen in all the recent conflicts, every single ceasefire or calming down of the dispute, the credit has always been taken by the American president. Let's see what he says on this one. I was not able to Google to see whether he's made any comments so far on this particular dispute.
Okay, and as we're speaking, we're getting some news coming in on mediation talks. Thailand's acting Prime Minister has reportedly rejected offers by both China and the US to mediate in the conflict with Cambodia, seeking to settle the matter through bilateral discussions. The acting PM has also warned of further escalation to a full-scale war. Let me, on that note, bring in Mr. David Whitehouse into the conversation. Mr. Whitehouse, I want to understand from your perspective, mediation by China and the US being rejected at this point in time, warnings coming in of a full-scale war. Why exactly do you think Thailand is not really in the mood right now for any nation to meddle in the current escalations?
Well, when we talk about this as a border dispute or a territorial dispute, I think we have to ask, why is it flaring up now? I mean, it's been basically quiet since 2011. Nothing has happened on this territorial dispute since 2011. I myself have visited the temple since then. It was full of tourists. There was no problem whatsoever. So why is it happening now, not last year, not the year before? The problem is, the underlying problem behind this, which has provoked these tensions, in my opinion, is the issue of cyber scam compounds within Cambodia and also Myanmar. There are industrial scale scam compounds inside both Cambodia and Myanmar where people are trafficked. People are the victims of human trafficking, and they're forced there. They're tricked into going there to work, including Indians. Many Indians have been tricked in this way. And they end up scamming people for potentially very large amounts of money online. There are estimates of billions and billions of dollars flowing illegally into Cambodia each year because of these scam compounds. This is a great concern to Thailand because it scares people away from going to Thailand. Particularly Chinese. The Chinese understand all this very well because it's the Chinese mafia operating in Cambodia. So Thailand needs this to stop. That is the single reason why this old territorial dispute, which dates back to the 19th century, this is colonial history, you know. Why is it happening? Why is it flaring up now after 14, 15 years? It's because of the scam compound. And I do think it's concerning what you just said about mediation by China being rejected. That does sound concerning because China is the side that has leverage over both these countries and has an interest in seeing the cyber I mean, China definitely wants the cyber scam compounds to be cleared up, and it has leverage over both sides. So if their intervention is being rejected, that is a worrying sign for sure.
Okay, Professor Nalapats, your thoughts on the same as well. The fact that Thailand particularly does not seem to be interested at this point in time to allow any sort of mediation, be it from the United States of America or from China.
Look, first of all, I'd like to say that I think David has raised a very interesting hypothesis, very plausible, but may I point out that the CCP, the Chinese state, is certainly not in favor of shutting down these scams. The scamsters, the mafia who is organizing these scams, I mean, they are fully under the domination of the CCP, and anytime the CCP wants to shut them down, that they can shut them down, but obviously they have not done so, but billions of dollars are flowing from the pockets of Indians and Thai and various other people into eventually the Chinese coffers. The mafia works hand in glove, unfortunately, with elements of CCP. So that is one point I would dispute with David. Everything else I fully agree with. I want to say that Cambodia launched this war. They began the attack, but now obviously the Thais they have dug their feet in, and very interestingly, Devika, this is a test of basically Chinese arms versus US weapons. The Cambodians are almost entirely equipped with Chinese weapons, and the Thai are almost totally equipped with US weapons. So it's a very interesting situation that's taking place. If you remember, Operation Sindoor was a battle between Chinese systems and mostly Indian systems. This is also now a battle involving Chinese systems, in which the Chinese systems seem to have got the worst of it, because the Cambodians are doing very badly and they're ready for a ceasefire. But I fully agree that with the Thai authorities, that the ceasefire can take place only if these illegal scamming centers stop. The Cambodian government, I mean, it is very heavily influenced by China,
Yes.
by the CCP. If CCP wanted to stop it, I can assure you they could have talked to the government in Cambodia and they could have got it stopped. The fact that it's going on indicates that's not the case. I mean, David is nodding his head, but allow me to state my hypothesis. So I want to say, Devika, that this, in my view, I think it should stop. The scamming should stop. And I think the Thai are very adamant on that. And quite frankly, I mean, they don't seem to be in any hurry to stop. Although, yes, unfortunately, lives are being lost on both sides. Innocent lives are being lost on both sides, as it is in any conflict, Devika. Sad to say. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Some more news coming in. In a social media post, Cambodian Prime Minister Samdech Moha Borwar has now emphasized that the key to resolving the ongoing armed clashes between Cambodia and Thailand lies in genuine willingness of the Thai side to accept a ceasefire. Major General Gigi Dwivedi, bring you into the conversation. So I want to understand from your perspective, given what the previous speakers have also said, what is the likelihood that the Thailand-Cambodia conflict could escalate into a situation where these neighboring countries become pawns or playgrounds for larger global players to come in, such as the US and China? We know that Thailand is a closer ally of the US, while Cambodia does have significant Chinese influence.
That's right, Devika. Beside what the other speakers have said, I like to bring in 2-3 fresh points. Firstly, Cambodia chose this time because there is a political instability in Thailand. The Prime Minister has been suspended, and possibly they found that this is the ideal window to escalate the clashes, which actually have been since May this year. The second point is you're right that this area is there are superpower and the big power influence is always there, because how these two sides are placed. Firstly, Cambodia. Well, it is a communist country. It has Chinese have a naval base here in Reams, so they have great deal of interest, and that is also gives them the I would say passage or the opening to the Indian Ocean. On the other side, Thailand has about $128 billion trade with the Chinese, and they have very sound economic relations. Now, where does this whole, I would say, the balance plays out? The Americans do have influence in Thailand, but the Americans at this time are not actually able to influence the situation here. It is the Chinese, and it is the Chinese interest that these two sides don't escalate. But another very important point is the military asymmetry. As far as Thailand is concerned, it is far more powerful than the Cambodians, and its defense budget also almost 4 times. So therefore, the Thais at this time would like to take a military advantage, so that when negotiation take place, they have upper hand in that negotiation on the negotiation table. As far as Cambodians are concerned, they actually miscalculated that being turmoil or the political instability in Thailand, there is the ideal opportunity. In fact, the trigger was that one of the Cambodian soldiers stepped on a mine, and that's where it escalated in May. So I feel that this situation may not escalate because both are ASEAN countries, so ASEAN itself has a stake, Chinese also have a stake. So I think in time to come, this will get diffused, but nonetheless, the problem is going to stay, because the problem is almost colonial problem for last 120 years. They have lived with it, but point is that at this time this may not escalate, but the problem is not going to go away, and the superpower interest is going to play out how the further situation pans out here. There we go.
Okay, some more news coming in. The United Nations Security Council will be holding an emergency session on the armed clashes between Thailand and Cambodia at 3 p.m. on the 25th of July, New York time. All 15 UNSC member states will be attending along with permanent representatives from both Thailand and Cambodia. Natsed, bringing into the conversation. Natsed, do you foresee any role for the global community as far as this conflict is concerned?
Thailand is smelling blood. You see, Thailand, and I think that it is not just a colonial problem. The Khmer people, that is the Cambodian people, and the Siam, when Thailand was Siam, this goes back to the time when before the nation state, when they were tribal entities. This is a very long drawn problem. And Thailand has always, felt that they have been short-charged, both in the two treaties that Siam, that Cambodia signed with their French colonial masters in 1897 and 1903, I think it was, or 1907, where both the sovereignties were given to Cambodia. Now, the only way that this war can stop is if Thailand does not smell blood. I have a feeling that Thailand is smelling blood here. It is seeing an opportunity. It is outgunning Cambodia by far. It has F-16 jets, for heaven's sake. So I think that if Cambodia reels under a Thai attack, there could be an actual war, not just a border skirmish. I think these are very dangerous, intense times ahead. I do not see how Thailand can be stopped this time by the international community.
Okay, all right. More news coming in. We're learning that Thailand has imposed martial law in 8 provinces on the border with Cambodia due to escalating clashes, urging citizens to avoid travel and stay vigilant. I want to get in a military perspective once again. So, Major General G.G. Vivedi, what does this mean for Thailand and Cambodia as far as the next few months are concerned? Because these are both nations that are heavily reliant on tourism. So clearly some sort of a decision is being taken specifically in Thailand as well, wherein that clearly the governments or administration do understand that conflicts and further escalation could impact the tourism industry and sector as well.
Absolutely, because the Thai economy is highly tourist dependent. They almost tourism contribute more than about $10 billion every year. So therefore, it's not in the interest of Thai government to have this conflict going. But at the same time, Thais have great advantage. There's an asymmetry. They have got very strong air force, very strong army, and they feel that they can this time at least bring Cambodians on their knees when they negotiate. Because the point is, at the negotiation table, your position is how strong you are on the battlefield. So I think that Thais will take some hit as far as the tourism is concerned, but they definitely want to push Cambodia into the corner, because after all the armed forces are there to ensure that your political aims and objectives are met. And in this time, I think Thais will ensure that they are able to cause certain amount of punitive action or punishment on the Cambodians before they come on the negotiation table. But nonetheless, tourism industry is very important. That will be one of the constraints, that this conflict is kept within the limits. It doesn't pan out to a full-fledged war. I think this skirmishes will continue, but at the end of it, either ASEAN or China will step in to ensure that the situation is diffused. Devika.
Okay, Mr. David Whitehouse, I also want to understand, in your assessment, there are, as I've just explained, external powers that do have some strategic interests or alliances as far as Thailand and Cambodia are concerned. Do you feel that it could result, the escalation of this conflict could result in the Thailand-Cambodia war into becoming some sort of a proxy battleground for larger geopolitical rivals?
I doubt it, to be honest. I mean, my point about China is that, I mean, China has a close relationship with Cambodia, as we've said. However, that relationship is more complicated than a major power, China, and a much weaker power in Cambodia, because China has the military base at Ream in Cambodia. So I believe it's absolutely in China's interests for the cyber scam compounds in Cambodia to be closed down. They are generally cautious on insisting on that too much because they need the military base. The military base is extremely important for China's overall strategic military ambitions in the region. So over the years, there's tended to be quite a bit of tolerance for the illegal with their base with no questions asked. Now, that makes it hard for Cambodia to get these compounds cleaned up. But given that Thailand is clearly to think it's going to be hard for Cambodia to protect the illegal criminals that have been operating in its territory in the way that it has been doing, frankly, for a number of years.
Okay, all right. Ambassador Basudhi Mukherjee, bringing you back to the conversation, ma'am. Do you foresee India to be playing a particular role as far as this conflict is concerned?
We are not in the habit of offering mediation when it's not been asked for by either side. If there was any request, we would certainly be happy to help to mediate. In this ASEAN, that is Malaysia, has offered mediation, and I would suspect that the Malaysia, because it would be a mediator acceptable to both Cambodia and to Thailand, given the common that this is a colonial conflict, as David has pointed out very correctly. It's a colonial conflict based on who had no idea of the kind of problems they are leaving behind for future generations, and so that the Thais have been dying to get their hands on the Priya Vihar temple and to cut off Cambodian access and tourism. The Priya Vihar temple, which was built based on temple of love,
Okay.
they would use this opportunity, I think, to cut off Cambodian access to the temples they had done it.
Okay, all right. Unfortunately, we're having some technical issues. My apologies to the guests. But I thank everyone nonetheless for joining us to take that conversation forward. We're having to step into a very quick break.